Hello and welcome to Nerd Alert. I'm your host today, Ethan Spazarski, and today we're going to be discussing all things Marvel. We're going to talk about Phase 4, compare it to Phase 5, all the upcoming movies and characters, and it's going to be a Marvel party. I'm here joined with Aaron Lang and Will Yoakum. Just be ready for it. All that and more here on WCTV. Hello, and we're going to waste no more time, get right into it. I'm going to turn it over now to my panel again. I'm here with Aaron Lang and Will Yoakum. And guys, I feel like it's important to discuss that Phase 4 of Marvel was an interesting time for the industry itself. So I want to talk about maybe what we like and what we didn't like about it, especially with it starting during the COVID time. So Aaron, I'm going to throw it to you first.
Yeah, I honestly think that Marvel had a little bit of a rough start to begin with. We started off with Black Widow, which went straight to Disney Plus and, generally speaking, did not do well overall. But I think after that, it picked up a bit, and I think that overall, overarching, Phase 4 was a bit of a roller coaster, going up and down throughout what the shows were and actually, the content and how, how good it was. There were definitely some favorites, but others, I think, fell short.
And Will, I'm going to kind of ask you somewhat of the same question. Aaron was mentioning a roller coaster. Were you along for the ride as well? How were you feeling? Did you want to try something new? What were you thinking here?
It was definitely interesting. It came off the success of Phase 3, ending with Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. Those were two masterpieces of movies. So going into a new phase and trying to connect everything for especially during COVID, it was definitely interesting to see. Black Widow going right to Disney Plus was not the smartest move on Marvel's part. Definitely lost actress Scarlett Johansson some money. She sued Disney because of it. After that, Shang-Chi was a very good movie. Eternals, I did not see that movie. Didn't also hear too many good things about that, but then they flipped it right back again with Spider-Man No Way Home. That was a fantastic movie. Doctor Strange was a good movie in my eyes. I thought it was very good. I watched both of those movies twice. Otherwise, Phase 4 is interesting, but I think there was a lot of things they probably could have improved, especially coming off of a successful phase such as Phase 3.
So you guys kind of hinted towards it when it was talking about Phase 4 and the successes of it. If you had to pick of all the movies that were in Phase 4, which one was your favorite? Which one would that be? Aaron, I'll throw it to you first.
I really enjoyed Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. That was probably one of my favorite ones. Close after that was probably the Spider-Man movie. But I think just with Black Panther, you're coming away from the passing of a fantastic person, a fantastic character and actor. I think they really played into it very well, and they paid the proper respect that was necessary to Chadwick Boseman. And I think that overall it was a very decent movie. I think it did have some of its flaws. Some of the CGI wasn't the very best. The Ironheart suit did not look okay, in my opinion. It reminded me of a Power Ranger. But overall, I think it was a very good movie.
Awesome. And Will, to you, what was your favorite movie?
Oh, I have to go with Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm a Spider-Man kid. I grew up watching Tobey, and then Andrew's movies were fantastic. So Marvel did fantastic in the fact that they gave the people what they wanted. Since the new Spider-Man was introduced, there was a lot of hints and suggestions that they might bring all three Spider-Men into this, considering that this phase dealt with the multiverse. So they're everybody wanted Tobey, Andrew, and Tom all together as Spider-Man, and they brought it, and they did it exceptionally well. And not only did they bring the Spider-Man, they brought previous villains from the movies, and I thought it went so well. I didn't really see too many problems with the movie, and I think it was just a fantastic movie overall. That's my favorite.
Alrighty, guys, and kind of the last thing I want to talk about, maybe before we head to our first break, is kind of comparing the end of Phase 3 to Phase 4. Will, you mentioned it before with Endgame and Infinity War especially. I thought those two movies together, kind of piecing it as one, was exceptional. There were a lot of iconic scenes in there where you can be like, hey, this is awesome. This is great stuff and great work by them. But kind of real quick, kind of comparing the end of Phase 3 to what we saw in Phase 4. You guys kind of hinted towards it, but continuing to go on it, Aaron, what do you think?
I think it was generally a very emotional beginning. We had a lot of characters who are still coming back from the blip, whether they had survived it or not. And there's a lot of emotion within Phase 4, which I think Marvel did really, really well with the emotion and really showing these heroes can grieve too. And it's okay for them to grieve because they've all gone through some really crazy stuff.
Will.
As Aaron said, I mean, she hit it right on the nail right there. I mean, the emotion aspect for Phase 4 was incredible. I mean, leaving those two movies from Avengers and Infinity War and Endgame, I can admit, I'm a big man, but I did cry at the end of Endgame. I mean, that got me. So taking that emotion and what we all felt as fans and moving it over to the next phase, I think Marvel did pretty well at that. But she hinted at it with Black Panther in this phase. The CGI has kind of gone downhill, and I don't know if that was a production problem. I don't know if that's just what they thought that was good to do, but the CGI I think was the biggest issue coming into Marvel so far in this phase. Other than that, I mean, the story writing was decent. I mean, to me, the way I see it, when it comes to this phase being about the multiverse, yeah, it can seem a little confusing to some, Marvel fans, but I think that's the whole point. The multiverse is a confusing thing, and none of these Avengers casts know, none of the Avengers know how to handle it or deal with it. So I think the direction they took the movies was meant to be confusing to some fans, but you just got to keep watching and keep going. So that's my opinion on it.
Maybe to make it easier for you, would either of you change anything they've done from the transition? I understand there's just been a bit, like you were mentioning, some confusion. Would there be a way maybe making it a little easier, or any movies better, or how would either of you have any answer to that question?
I mean, generally, I think some things need addressed at the very end of Eternals, where the giant, I forget what it's called, but this giant creature basically comes out of the water and it is never addressed again. There is a giant hand and a giant head just in the ocean, and you don't know what happened to it. It's just chilling there, and it's never been addressed since then.
They should bring in SpongeBob. It's the easiest answer.
I love SpongeBob, but I mean, that would confuse me more. I mean, I love SpongeBob, but SpongeBob and Marvel, I ain't never seen that. That would be a more ambitious crossover than anything we've ever seen before.
Guys, I completely agree with you. We're gonna have to get SpongeBob in on this Marvel action, but unfortunately, that's all we're gonna have time-wise for our first segment here. We're gonna turn it over to Woo Tunes with Keegan Robbie and Alex Housecat Hughes as well. Talk about a little Woo Tunes action. Then when we come back, we're gonna break down Phase 4 a little bit more, characters and movies, and a little bit more dissecting. All here on Nerd Alert.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Woo Tunes here on Nerd Alert. I'm Alex Hughes, joined alongside by Keegan Robbie, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 on the Billboard hits. And we got to start it off with the new song that took over #1, and that's Flowers by Miley Cyrus. Did you listen to it? And if you did, what did you think of the song?
Yeah, I listened to it. It's an okay song. I'm not putting it at #1. Definitely not putting it at #1 on the Billboards. I do not think it's that good, but it's all right for a Miley Cyrus song. It's mid, but I'm not a big fan of it being #1.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I'm not a big Miley Cyrus fan myself, and it just doesn't seem like that good of a song, especially to take over Taylor Swift's Anti-Hero, which was there at #1 for a very long time.
Great song,
and it was a good
which
song,
we'll get to. But
yes, but yeah, I just don't think it should be #1, especially for its first week on the charts as well.
Yeah, I agree.
#2 on the charts, Kill Bill by SZA, and this is another one. SZA this album came out not that long ago as well, almost took over #1 from Taylor Swift, but it never did, and it's still sitting there at #2.
You see, this one, I'd say it's better than Flowers. I'd say it is up there for sure. I wouldn't say it's top 2, but it's better than Flowers for sure. I think if it was between those two for #1, I think Flowers would go on top, or Flowers would go in second, and Kill Bill would go first.
Yeah. And then #3 is the one that we talked about a little bit earlier, and that's Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift. And you said you like this song a lot.
I'm a huge Swiftie fan. If you know me, I love Taylor Swift. I was kind of bummed because I got the code to go see to get tickets to go see the Taylor Swift concert, and my code on Ticketmaster didn't work, so that kind of made me a little mad. But
yeah, that was a tough concert to get tickets to. A lot of people trying, and a lot of people couldn't end up getting tickets. But yeah, I think it was a really good song. Again, it has to be a good song to sit at #1 for as long as it did.
Any Taylor Swift song is up there
Yeah.
all the time.
I'm not
Of
a
course.
Taylor Swift fan as you, but I still think she's pretty good nonetheless. Then #4, Creepin', Metro Boomin' by The Weeknd and 21 Savage. Me personally, I'm a big rap guy, so this is probably my favorite song in the top 10. Again, 21 Savage, Metro Boomin', anytime they collaborate, it pretty much always ends up really good, and this is just another example of that.
Yeah, see, I'm not a huge rap guy. I'm more of a country or throwback pop kind of guy. But this song, I always catch myself listening to this song. I like this song a lot.
#5, Unholy by Sam Smith, and I know you were talking about this one earlier.
I was just singing it earlier. It was stuck in my head when I listened to it. We were in a class this morning and we were talking about cars and someone said Body Shop and I started thinking of the song right away. It's a very catchy song. I think it definitely deserves to be in top 5.
Yeah, and the number 6, I'm Good by BB Rexa. What do you think of that one?
I love this song. It's good beat, good lyrics. It's a great song.
Yeah, I definitely like that one. Number 7, Die For You by The Weeknd. Number 8, Rich Flex, Drake and 21 Savage. That's another one that's been on there for a while. Again, rap guy. Rich Flex, probably my favorite song that's been out recently.
Yep, I like Rich Flex a lot. I'm a big 21 Savage guy, even though I don't listen to a lot of rap. But anything he puts out, I like to listen to.
Yeah. Number 9, BZRP Music Sessions Volume 53 by Shakira. What do you think of that one?
If we're being honest, I had no idea what this song was. I listened to it a little bit ago, but I don't know how it's top 10. I listened to it and it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Shakira, but this song just didn't do it
Like
for me.
Hips Don't Lie.
Yes.
A great song.
Great song,
This
amazing
one,
song. It's not it.
Yeah, it's not it.
it.
It's not it.
And then number 10, rounding out the top 10, As It Was by Harry Styles. This is another one. It's been on the charts for a while. I'm not a big Harry Styles fan. It's not my thing, but
I like this song. I won't lie to you. I didn't know the name of the song, so when I saw it on the top 10 Billboard, I was like, what is this? And I listened to it and I was like, oh, I know this song. I like this song a lot though.
yeah. And that's your top 10 from the Billboard charts. So that's going to wrap up here on Woo Tunes. I'm Alex Hughes, and this is Kean Rodney. You're watching Nerd Alert.
You're watching WCTV, where we aim to bring you the best local coverage of what you care about most. Everything from local businesses to hometown sports and the latest weather. We're keeping up to date with what you need to know about issues that affect our campus and our community. We're telling the stories that matter, celebrating our past, our future, and our potential. So tune in for all the latest buzz right here on WCTV Channel 14, Waynesburg.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Now, we're going to kind of dig a little bit deeper into this Phase 4 talk. Well, we're going to talk a little about some TV shows and our favorite characters, whether they be on TV shows or movies. So without any more hesitation, Aaron, kind of while during the break, we were discussing something I feel that's important for you to mention. What do you tell the audience what we were talking about?
Yeah, so we've never seen them before. I thought that Eternals should have been a TV show, been on Disney Plus. It was too much at once. Marvel did a good job within the early movies of introducing little bits of characters every now and then, and it was far too much. It should have been a TV show, I think.
Far too much. And Will, kind of going off of that, do you agree or disagree with Aaron's claim?
Oh no, I completely agree. If the movie is going to introduce 10 brand new characters, why would they do it in a movie that only has maybe a 2 to 3 hour time slot when you could do it on a TV show that could take as much time as it really needs, as many episodes as you can produce? Why not just do it that way rather than just a movie? I completely agree with that.
And it's kind of going off of that, do you feel, even though it wasn't a TV show where you had more time to maybe dive into the characters' personalities or backstories, how do you feel they did with the movie aspect, considering they did do the movie? And do you have a favorite character of those 10 characters as well?
I mean, I'm not sure. I think that overall it was a decent movie. It was definitely not my favorite. It felt too rushed, and so that's where I think it definitely fell apart. But I don't know if I really have a favorite character because, again, it was too condensed. You didn't really get to know them as much. I think that was where that fell short.
How about you, Will?
Well, Ethan, you're looking at me to answer this question. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you guys, too. I did not watch Eternals, so I don't have the biggest opinion on this movie. I mean, I'm going completely based off of what Erin said. She's the one that watched it, so, I mean, if that's what she says, that's what she says.
Did you watch it, Ethan?
Heck no, I did not. But I do respect the honesty around the table here, which is something we ask for when we're talking about stuff like this. And I think now kind of turning into that honesty avenue, favorite characters overall. Now, I understand there were quite a bit of characters introduced to us through Phase 4, especially when leaving Phase 3. We did lose a couple as well, so you had to make up for it. Now turning it over back, I'm going to start with Will this time. Will, talk to me. Who was your favorite character overall in Phase 4, and if you could give an explanation why?
This is going to be probably something that people weren't expecting too much. I loved Moon Knight. Moon Knight was one of my favorite ones introduced. I loved the show. that show was kind of just like how WandaVision made me feel a little bit, right? WandaVision confused a lot of people when that started, and it started to make sense as it went on. Moon Knight started off like kind of made a little sense, and then just completely threw you on a rope there at the very end. Like Moon Knight, honestly, really appealed to me as a character. Just the fact that he has different personalities and the way he can just, deal with it at the end, and it was very emotional to me. And all in all, to me, it was a really, really good show. So Moon Knight had to have been my favorite out of all of the shows that came out. I mean, the favorite show to me, I think, was Loki. Honestly,
Loki.
That was my favorite.
Loki, kind of. Yeah, I agree with you in that aspect. Kind of like diving into it more because we've seen a lot of Loki throughout the Marvel phases. I mean, he's been sprinkled in and out, especially when you're related to one of the most iconic superheroes probably ever created in Marvel history. So I feel like that's a fair statement. But kind of now turning it over to Aaron. Aaron, what would you like your favorite character in a movie or TV show wise?
I mean, I really loved Florence Pugh's Yelena. Yelena she has so much sass and energy to her that you wouldn't expect with someone of her background. But she's just such a likable character. And again, when we saw her in Hawkeye, just coming in straight with the sass. She's still an assassin and everything, and she has a mission that she's on, but she's funny. The interactions between her and Kate Bishop, they just constantly made me laugh. It was very fun.
Did you guys have, us kind of going off what Aaron was mentioning, do you guys kind of have a favorite relationship maybe along with any of these characters, or maybe a hatred or bromance or any kind of situation like that? Did we have anything that we liked about what they did there as well?
I mean, my favorite was probably the relationship between Sam and Bucky.
Oh, yeah.
Just Bucky Barnes is one of my favorite characters overall within the MCU, but to see the relationship of they've both lost someone important to them who is important to the world, and they both now have to live in a world without Steve Rogers, and they started off on a rough foot where Bucky's pulling the steering wheel out of Sam's car, but now they're in
audacity.
I know, but they're in a good place now, and I think seeing their relationship grow over the course of that series was just amazing to me, I think.
Well, to you.
Mine had to have probably been WandaVision, between Wanda and Vision. I mean, that really dived deep into their relationship. I mean, for phase 3, we saw bits and pieces. I mean, they were trying to obviously build onto it, and then we just saw it completely tear apart in the last 2 movies. So just as it had started up, it completely ended just like that. So WandaVision really dived deep into their relationship and how much love they had for each other, and just seeing Wanda kind of grieve that much for Vision and just have it all torn away from her. And it also just shows us why she became who she was in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, she did it all because she wanted a family, she wanted a normal life, and she had that with Vision, but because of Thanos and everything that had happened, it just all got taken away from her. So seeing that human aspect from her and just seeing how she grieved and dealt with it, and it just all explained a lot more. And I think they did a really good job of doing that.
I completely agree with you between Sam and Bucky as well. I think you got to develop that relationship, whether losing like with Wanda and her brother from back in Age of Ultron. I think that's a completely fair take, and I agree with. And something else I want to quickly mention or bring attention to ask you guys, if you guys could bring back or maybe create a new character back from phase 3 to phase 4, who would that be?
This is stretching it a little past phase 3, but I would bring back Quicksilver. In a heartbeat, I would bring back Quicksilver. I don't think he got enough recognition, and I think he was a favorite character. I really enjoyed him, and I feel like there was a lot that could have been done with the character, but unfortunately, they decided not to bring him back.
Aaron brought back a superhero. I'm gonna bring back a villain. I think they needed to bring back Ultron. There was so much potential there. I mean, they just brought him in as the typical villain, where he starts off in the movie and ends in the movie. He's done.
And he's not typically.
Yeah. No, they didn't bring him back. I mean,
and I think especially now that if you bring Ultron back, Tony's not there anymore. No, Tony Stark isn't here, so that completely throws a wrench in your idea. Like, Dad's gone.
Now what?
Yeah, now what?
Now what do we do?
Exactly.
Tony was able to defeat him. I mean, it took him a while, but he was able to get him, defeat him.
Yeah.
Now you have to have the rest
And
of the
Vision's
Avengers.
gone too,
Vision's
so what are you going to do?
Yeah, right?
All the OGs are gone.
All the OGs
are gone.
The
Yeah.
OGs are gone, so now what do you have to have all these new Avengers that popped up have to figure out how to defeat Ultron again. There was so much potential with Ultron.
You got
fantastic actor that they casted for him, by the way. He was absolutely fantastic.
CGI with it was excellent too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was good
was
CGI.
better- it was better at the time. I don't understand why CGI from then to now has just gotten horrible. I mean, I don't know. Disney, pay your production people more. I don't know.
Kind of
But-
going off on him here, Will.
Yeah, no, that's just me. But I mean, that's just what
yeah.
happens when you take away a beloved character. Some people don't think that like loving a villain character is like a good thing.
They're wrong.
Yeah.
But they're wrong. I mean, you can love a villain character, especially if
Yeah.
Ultron had so much potential, and they just took it away from us in a 2-hour span.
Alrighty, guys. Well, unfortunately, that is going to be what we have here to end segment number 2. We are going to throw it over to the Movie Minute with Rebecca Vaughn, and then when we come back, we're going to be wrapping up our Marvel talk, whether it is with Phase 4 and Phase 5 as well. Stick around. You're watching Nerd Alert.
Hello and welcome back to Nerd Alert. I'm Rebecca Vaughn here with your Movie Minute update. Last semester, we gave you a look at what was the upcoming new movie Avatar: The Way of Water. Now we're taking a look at how the movie actually did surrounding all of the hype for it. According to the box office numbers, the movie's done really well. The movie just reached $2 billion grossed at the global box office, passing Spider-Man: No Way Home as the 6th highest film in box office history. The movie has retained its #1 spot at the domestic box office for the 6th consecutive week. In upcoming movie news, BTS is getting their own concert movie experience. The film BTS, yet to come in cinemas, will be in theaters on February 1st. Now, this film is less of a movie and more of a concert experience. The film will feature a recorded live performance of the band during a sold-out show. This film will be good for those fans who might be disappointed that they didn't get to see the band before they leave the stage for the required Army service in 2025. And for the movie I'm most curious about at the moment, an older movie called The Blind Man Who Did Not Want to See Titanic. This movie is a romance movie that follows a man who is visually impaired and paralyzed from the chest down. He finds solace and love in a person he's never met before after speaking with her over the phone regularly. His journey is one of love, depending on strangers to help him find the love of his life. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have for you today here on the Movie Minute, but stick around because there's more to come on Nerd Alert.
Hello and welcome to the first Level Up segment of 2023. I'm Tim Durkin, and it's great to have you here. First of all, let's talk controllers. Sony revealed 2 new controllers for the PlayStation 5, the DualSense Edge and an accessibility controller. The DualSense Edge is more of a pro version of the regular DualSense controller, which, okay. I thought the regular DualSense was great, but I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. The real highlight here for me is the accessibility controller. Accessibility needs to be a priority for the gaming industry, so seeing something like this is huge. I've said it many times, and I will say it again. Everybody should be able to play every game. Good work, Sony. Next up, let's talk Nintendo. To be honest, this year seems a little dry in terms of releases so far. Here's what we have confirmed. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is obviously the big one. Pikmin 4 is cool, but niche. Xenoblade 3 DLC, which is also niche. And that's about it in terms of notable releases. The Direct that's inevitably coming up here soon needs to drum up some excitement for this year. My suggestion? Finally reveal Metroid Prime 4. I've been waiting since June of 2017. The time is now. Blow our socks off with the incredible reveal of this mysterious title. Please, Nintendo, I've been waiting for too long. On that happy note, that's going to be it for this Level Up segment. I hope you enjoyed, and take care.
Welcome back to the final segment of Nerd Alert. To wrap up today's show, I think it's fair that we discuss Phase 5. As you guys have mentioned before, Phase 4 is a bit lackluster. I mean, I think we can say an overall general opinion. So kind of heading into Phase 5, what are our expectations? I understand the bar may be set a little low. We want to set it higher, but I don't want to take any more time away from you guys. Aaron, you can go first.
I mean, I think there's a lot to look forward to in Phase 5. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp coming up in a couple weeks, and it's a lot seems to be happening there with not only his daughter, but also with Hope's family and everything. But just a lot of integrating the characters that we had seen in the Phase 4 shows and the movies are now coming back, and we're going to see them in bigger settings with some of the more familiar characters and everything. And we're getting like more of Sam Wilson as Captain America, and you're going to see some of the villains, like what we were talking about earlier, coming with the Thunderbolts and having them as essentially the Suicide Squad of the Marvel Universe, essentially, and getting later into the upcoming Avengers movies with Kang Dynasty and Secret War, and even the TV shows look really interesting that are going to be coming out.
Will, how about you?
Yeah, for Phase 5, I mean, I think the first thing I'm going to look forward to, and this is just me as a production type of person, it's CGI. I mean, the CGI needs to get better. That is probably the number one thing they need to focus on. But the second thing is going into it as a Marvel fan, I mean, take all the characters you had in Phase 4, and when you bring them over to Phase 5, just make sure that they are in more prominent roles. Make sure that their story writing is set. And take it from the comics. I mean, that's why they were written. Don't try to make your own spin on it. Take them from the comics, take their story, and just put it in the movies and just make it solid. Make us want to like these characters. Don't make them as throwaway characters. Don't bring in villains that are going to be throwaway. Bring in villains that are going to have a meaning, and don't just last one movie and then we just forget about them like they never happened. Ultron.
Yeah, Age of Ultron, I think that's a perfect example of it. I'm going to kind of take a bits and pieces of what both of you said, to be honest. I think between the CGI from what Will said, kind of talking about the new Captain America from what Aaron said, I think that's what I'm looking forward to. And the nice thing about a new start of a new phase is the opportunity and the chance and potential for some greatness to happen. And I feel like if you guys had to pick which ones, as of right now, from what we've seen or understood, if you had to pick one of the movies or TV shows that are coming up in Phase 5, which one would you pick to be maybe the best, and which one would you pick to be the worst?
I mean, overall, I would really hope that the Avengers movies, the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, are going to be the best, like what we saw with Infinity War and with Endgame. It's essentially another big finale of all these big characters, this big villain who will be around for pretty much all of Phase 5. We're going to get a real introduction to him in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I think that they're really going to have to like bring it home with those two movies. As for one that maybe not looking forward to as much, Agatha, the Disney Plus TV show. I don't understand why Disney decides that they have to do that. She was a good villain. She was decent. Let's leave her be. I have no interest.
Yeah, and how about you, Will?
So, I mean, I'm looking at the list that we got here. I mean, obviously for the best, I'm going to agree with Aaron. Those last two that are slated for Phase 5, they have to be the best ones. Those are like the finale there. Those are the Infinity War Endgame-esque type of movies. They have to be the best. And if not, then that's just sending Marvel down into a DC spiral. I mean, DC has had their own problems. They're currently rebooting again. But we're going to stick with Marvel here. I mean, those two have to be those movies. I mean, for the worst, I mean, yeah, Agatha makes no sense. I don't know why they're doing that one. I feel like I don't have good hopes for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I don't have good hopes because I think a lot of people are going to go into this knowing that the Guardians are pretty much done after this movie. I mean, already we've heard Dave Bautista, the actor that plays Drax, he's done playing Drax. So that's pretty much foreshadowing what's going to happen with Drax in this movie. I mean, we know that this movie is going to center around Rocket as well. Don't know what's going to happen to him. He's a fan favorite. So, I mean, that one may be the worst in the sense that the fans are not going to take it so well because of the outcome. That's why I say that.
think if you play it out right, there's an opportunity for awesomeness and excitement, especially for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I mean, I'm kind of interested towards it. They're still looking for Gamora after, everything happened again. Always coming back to Endgame and Infinity War, which I think is a whole reason why it's so good. We're always bringing ourselves back to it. But, kind of going off what Will said, I think I'm more or less interested how they play it. If they play it off right whenever we finish off, because, Batista, You know, he's getting up there in age. He's sticking to his Bush commercials. I truly believe that. I mean, I think that's kind of where we're going to see the end of that. How they play it off. Knowing Disney, they'll go into depth probably more about some of the characters' backgrounds, maybe making separate shows from it, if we're being honest with each other, because they've done that for, many franchises, not just Marvel. So kind of going off of what I just asked, you guys were talking about, some upcoming shows that you weren't too excited about, and I think Agatha was a strikeout kind of show that you guys weren't really feeling. If you could replace that show with another show that you could either A, reboot, or B, maybe start up, or a different storyline to go down, what would that be? Will, I want to start with you.
Well, I would want to bring back a show that was recently canceled, Spider-Man Freshman Year. Or at least to tie it into like Tom Holland's like first year as Spider-Man, because when we first see him in Civil War, he's been doing it for a little bit of time, not a long time, but quite a bit of time. So I want to see his start, his rise from. We've seen plenty. I understand. We've seen plenty of Spider-Man origin movies and stuff like that. I understand, but I want to see it from the Tom Holland aspect, like how he rose up to be Spider-Man. It could even bring back in Tony Stark in there. It could bring him back. Fans would love to see him again. So that's just interesting for me, being a Spider-Man fan. That's what I like to see.
Aaron, how about you?
I think I would just have to go with X-Men. I've been an X-Men fan since I was in like second grade, and as you can see here.
I was gonna say, I don't think anyone can tell.
No, but the characters are really interesting, and just the general history of the X-Men is interesting. And I think that there's a lot of potential now that even Marvel has the rights to the X-Men now. There's a lot of potential for what can be done with them. And yes, we still kind of hold on to the Hugh Jackman is Wolverine and Patrick Stewart is Charles Xavier and these iconic characters within the X-Men, but it'd be interesting to see like what they do different and how they potentially try and make it better, because I definitely think that there are things from the original X-Men movies that could be better in the long run.
Well, think about maybe this way. What do you do with Deadpool? You maybe bring...
He would be a good way to do it. Because if Wolverine's going to be in the movie.
Will's face says a little bit differently.
You can't replace Deadpool.
No, you can't.
You just can't.
No.
Ryan Reynolds was an absolute perfect cast.
Yes.
And when you brought up, Hugh Jackman and all of that, you can't replace them. People nowadays are. I want to say people are scared of change nowadays. I think they still are scared of change. There's plenty of change. But there are a lot of people still scared of change, especially when it comes to, beloved comic franchises and stuff like that. When you bring in a fantastic actor such as that and they play the role so well, you can't replace them. So it's going to be very hard to find a replacement. I even heard reports of them bringing in Daniel Radcliffe to play Wolverine.
That makes no sense.
Who would see Harry Potter as Wolverine? I would not see him as threatening at
Hocus
all.
Pocus kind of stuff like that makes no sense.
Yeah,
that's interesting, and that really ties it all back together. Kind of a nice little bow on things as we not only get ready for Phase 5, as we end through Phase 4, and as we end this episode of Nerd Alert as well. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, letting us come into your television screens or phones or computer screens just for these little bit of time. We appreciate it. For Will Yoakum and Aaron Lang, I'm Ethan Spazarski saying so long, and thank you for watching Nerd Alert.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.